A young tourist takes a train to the bustling metropolis Lumiose City, bringing only their expensive designer bag. And they run into another local teen, who coerces them into participating in unpaid advertising. But after only 5 minutes of being in Lumiose, the city that brings people and Pokemon together, the foreigner already gets mugged by a Pancham. So the two briskly walk after their Poke Thief because the option to run hasn't been unlocked yet. And when they finally catch their thieves, the protagonist finally possesses the proper excuse to take a starter Pokemon. The two have so much fun stopping a robbery that day turns to night, and the trainers that roam the streets start looking for battles. Just as the two are about to be overwhelmed by office workers and midnight joggers, a mysterious Floette saves them by scaring off all the non-threatening pedestrians with a giant laser. And our party scurries to safety at the nearby hotel, where Victor Wembanyama works as the receptionist. And he's like, I see the potential in you to become the ultimate mega user and save Lumiose City. Here's a key to a room in my hotel, which is occupied exclusively by teenagers and myself, a grown adult. A really grown adult. We call ourselves Team MZ. But who is this tall, mysterious, and suspicious man? Well, we have to go back thousands of years. A war broke out where Pokemon were used as tools and not as partners. A few soldiers not so smartly angered a 9-foot-tall king by taking his lifelong friend Floette away, with the puny flower being unfit for the terrors of the front line and perishing on the battlefield. After receiving the casket of his lifelong friend, the distraught king got busy creating a machine that could bring his little buddy back to life. And he actually succeeded, but his machine ran on the life energy of other Pokemon. Not exactly a feel-good story. The king then got revenge on both sides of the war by blasting them with energy from his machine. Ultimately, his Floette was so disgusted by its partner that it decided to leave him anyways, and the effects of using the life-giving machine made the man and his Floette immortal-ish, so he was forced to wallow in shame for 3,000 years. A philanthropist named Lysander founded Team Flare, a group that's original intentions were to help others using Lysander's plentiful money and power, but he eventually became disillusioned with humanity after witnessing their greed, and attempted to use the old machine once again to wipe out half of the planet's population. But after his evil plans were thwarted by a teenager, which happens a lot in these games, the ultimate weapon collapsed on top of him, leading to his... well, there was no body, and you know how that works in fiction. If there's no body, you never know. AZ's Floette made the judgment call that enough time had passed to forgive her former friend for ending the lives of thousands of people in Pokemon, and she returned to the old king. Hey, it's the meme. In order to help revive the economy in Lumiose City after it was almost the site of a mass extinction event, a company called Quasartico Inc. came up with an urban development plan, where Lumiose City would be divided between living areas where humans and non-feral Pokemon can live, and wild areas where wild Pokemon are legally allowed to maul you, to create a city where Pokemon and humans can coexist. But as it turns out, AZ hadn't learned his lesson the first time around, and he created another machine called Ainge, which is stored within Prism Tower in Lumiose City, with its intended function being to share the blessing of life with other people, like what had happened with him and his Floette. But when Lysander activated the ultimate weapon, it also caused Ainge to go berserk and start emitting Mega Evolution energy throughout the city, causing nearby Pokemon to suddenly Mega Evolve and go berserk. AZ returned to Lumiose City to try and fix his whoopsie, and he explained to Quasartico that the only way to control Ainge is by using his Floette, but in its Mega Evolved form. And not any Joe Schmo can control Mega Floette. It's gotta be the strongest Mega Evolution user of all time. So Quasartico's CEO came up with a plan to seek out the strongest Mega Evolution user, the Z to A tournament, where trainers battle during the night to gain points and earn a challenge ticket, which lets them battle another trainer for the right to move up one letter grade, with the promise that Quasartico will fulfill one wish to whoever reaches rank A. And so greed overwhelms the people of Lumiose City as they all want their one unreasonable wish granted. one such trainer being the CEO's granddaughter or grandson, depending on whether the protagonist is a granddaughter or grandson. But in my case, I am a grandson, so I'm gonna go with Tawny. After the old man got tired of battling Mega Evolved Pokemon, he gave his supercharged Floette to Tawny to do all of his hard work for him. In exchange, he lets her stay in his dusty old hotel, which looks like it should be the site for a horror film. Back in the present, Tawny explains to the tourist that trainers in Lumiose are competing in the Z to A Royale, with the promise that Quasartico will fulfill one wish to the trainer who reaches rank A. The protagonist has nothing going on upstairs and really has no wishes or desires, but Tawny takes their picture anyways and signs them up for the A to Z tournament. And Tierno's sister is like, hey, I'm also here. Tawny plans to take the protagonist to a wild Pokemon zone to catch some Pokemon, but some massive boulders are blocking the way to and from AZ's hotel, which is probably why he only has 4 guests. And Tawny is like, good thing we can get around the city by climbing onto people's rooftops. This city truly is in anarchy. After reluctantly catching some level 3 Pokemon that they're never going to use, the protagonist meets the city's professor to get a reward for filling out the Pokedex, who is yet another former criminal who's in a position of power in Lumiose City. Like I said, anarchy. The trainer runs into Naveen, the 4th member of Team MZ, who is the designer of their clothing. He has the tragic backstory that his grandmother wouldn't approve of his hobby and threw away his sewing equipment. So he ran away from home and was helped by Tawny, who let him stay at Hotel Z. He then became addicted to watching a streamer who plays video games all day, which is the saddest part of the story. After beating enough office workers and obtaining a challenge ticket, the protagonist can finally face some real competition. A taxi driver. So they get promoted to rank Y. As our 2 hoodlums are celebrating, a detective shows up and is like, hey Tawny, you know that missing person that you're having me investigate? Yep, they're still missing. And then she Naruto runs off into the distance. They get back to Hotel Z and Tawny makes a curry dish. Because this is a Pokemon game, we gotta fit curry into it somehow. They visit Emma at her detective agency, and she's like, I've got detective work for you to do. Because doing detective work will help you in the Z to A Royale. Probably. Maybe. Alright, get to it. The 2 return after finishing their unpaid work, and Emma flexes on them by showing off her Mega Ampharos. For some reason. After another promotion and more curry, Lita explains her tragic backstory wherein her roommate signed with a talent agency and they had to move away, so Tawny let her stay at Hotel Z. I mean, does anyone in this party have like dead parents or something interesting going on? Well, besides Tawny, I guess the jury's still out on that one. After another promotion and more curry, the protector of order in Lumiose, Zygrade, appears, and Emma is like, chase after that dog! And please don't stare at his neon green blinking butthole. So the protagonist briskly walks after Zygrade because the run function has been disabled. And the dog ultimately leads them to a Pokemon going rabid with Mega Energy. AZ finally leaves his hotel to give the protagonist a Mega Ring to use with his Lucario. And they enter into a Pokemon battle where Mega Pokemon take 10 times longer than average to take down, because we gotta pad the game's runtime somehow. Emma is like, Zygrade must think you're the only one who could stop the rogue Mega Evolutions and save Lumiose City. What about me? What about you? The protagonist then learns that their next promotional match is against the gaming streamer prodigy Canary. And Naveen is like, oh, it's over for you. There's no one that can beat Canary in a Pokemon battle. She just can't lose. And she doesn't poop either, just so you know. My dream is to design clothes for her to wear on stream. Maybe his grandmother was right to throw away all his sewing equipment. Meanwhile, outside of Hotel Z, Zygrade shows up and pukes up a rock to give to the player. Lysander is alive somehow, and he's like, yep, I'm here, I'm old, and I'm ready to reveal the plot. Mega Energy has mysteriously appeared in Lumiose City, causing rogue Mega Evolutions. As the Defender of Order, Zygrade has chosen you to become a trainer worthy of commanding them. Oh, you already knew like 90% of that? Alright, I'm leaving. Just please don't call the cops on me. They track Canary down to a warehouse, where she neats it up in her narcissistic bedroom. And she explains that she wants to reach rank A and use her wish to host gaming tournaments in Lumio City. Like, she can't do that already? Are there anti-gamer laws in this city, or what? After they beat her in a Pokemon battle and cause her to have a gamer moment, the trainer is brought up to rank E for eat more curry. I mean, gosh, there better be a lot of toilets in Hotel Z. Well, no longer do we have the pleasure of owning jobber generic trainers, as our next promotion match is against Ivor, the leader of a group of fighting enthusiasts called the Fist of Justice. But he can't accept the protagonist's challenge because his goth sister took his phone. Because she was annoyed by him ruining their family name by constantly breaking things around the city with his comical superhuman strength. Like Naveen, Gwen is also a Canary fan, or a Canatic, except it's less creepy in her case because she's actually friends with Canary. So the protagonist doxes the location of Canary's secret streaming hideout, and with her cooperation they're able to track down Gwen, who is in the sewers below Lumios City. Like in a completely empty, cold, square room. I mean, how annoying of a brother do you have to be for your sister to want to stay in cold sewer rooms than spend time dealing with you? With his phone back, Ivor can finally battle the protagonist and lose. We then learn that Tawny has taken a 100,000 Pokédollar loan to fund her Hotel Z promotional videos. And now that loan has ballooned to 1 million Pokédollars thanks to interest. So the protagonist has to deal with the Rust Syndicate to pay off her debts. Corbeau explains that the Syndicate does dirty work like loan scams to gain influence so they can make Lumios a better place, as he fell in love with the city after Lysander brought him here as an orphan. So he plans to use his wish in a way that will help Lumios City. Well, it's a lot more noble than running a LAN event. After he's defeated in a promotion battle, he shows up to Hotel Z to be their literal first guest in the entire game. And he gives Tawny the money she needs to pay off her debt to his own syndicate. As the four teens are having a filler episode moment at a cafe, a maid shows up to invite them to a battle tournament that's being held in an extravagant hotel by a wealthy woman named Jacanth, who just so happens to be their next promotional opponents. It's funny how it works out like that. Just as they're about to begin the hype tournament arc, with all the friends that we made along the way, Tawny gets a call and is like, "What? We have to do mind-numbingly boring battles with more Mega Evolved Pokemon? Sorry guys, we gotta go." Jacanth does not appreciate this slight at enjoyable gameplay, as she proceeds to stalk the protagonist with a hologram to pressure them into returning to her Pokemon party, where Jacanth herself gets a first round bye, all the way to the finals, which is actually pretty funny. Before the trainer can face Jacanth, the dog shows up and fuses with some Zygrade cells to become Zygrade 50%. And Lysander is like, "I will continue searching for Zygrade cells so that it can become Zygrade 100%. Anyways, so they battle and Jacanth can't win a Pokemon battle, meaning the trainer is only one promotion away from rank A. AZ is like, "Mega energy is coming from the tower, and the only way of controlling the tower is with Mega Floette, and the only one who can wield Mega Floette is the ultimate Mega Pokemon user." So do we have to become the ultimate Mega user for Floette or for Zygrade? Both, I guess. And how do we determine who's the ultimate Mega user? Floette will decide. The final opponent in the Z to A tournament is a mystery man, who they discover, thanks to some help from an ex-Team Flare admin and a detective, is actually the cafe worker, who is also an ex-member of Team Flare, which probably should have been more obvious given the neon orange hair highlights. The two creamsicles take the protagonist to the location of Team Flare's now run-down underground hideout, where the protagonist gets a lore dump from a supercomputer and the local homeless man. And back outside, the cafe worker is like, "Now hand over Mega Floette so we can be the ones to save Lumio City, and people will finally forgive Team Flare for their past mistakes." But the protagonist does not care about Team Flare's redemption arc, and easily wins their promotional match, finally reaching rank A. Team MZ confronts AZ about the recent lore dump, and he's like, yes, I did create a machine that ended the lives of thousands of people and Pokemon, and then created another machine that's currently causing rogue mega evolutions in Lumiose City. But when I explain the entire story with a sad soundtrack and some low frame animations, it kinda makes me seem like the victim in all this. AZ, you're kind of a bad guy, aren't you? Suddenly, Prism Tower turns pink, a sign that the game should probably be ending soon, as it threatens to explode with mega energy. Tawny decides that she will take Mega Floette to the tower's control room, while the protagonist will stay behind and provide backup with Zygrade. Then she's like, hey protagonist, when we get out of this mess, you gotta film that hotel promotional video with me. Unpaid, of course. Oh god, not a red flag. Oh, yep, the tower's going berserk and it's fusing with Mega Floette. Well, bye, Tawny. Mega energy pours from the tower, causing more rogue Megamons to appear. Suddenly, all the friends that we made along the way appear to protect the protagonist and guide them safely to Zygrade. Well, all of the friends that we made along the way, except for Zach, the taxi driver. I don't know why they left him out of the scene. Lysander is like, I've only collected like 99% of Zygrade's cells, so we can't. Then the last cell jumps out of the protagonist's bag and fuses with Zygrade. Okay, but Zygrade still might not be strong enough to stop. Then the protagonist takes out the pebble and it crumbles away into Zygrade's Z-Stone. Alright. I guess you've got this covered then. As the Mega Floette empowered Ainge begins to unleash a light of ruin that would wipe Lumiose off the map, Mega Zygrade counters with their equally cool looking laser, destroying the attack and releasing Floette from Ainge's control. Tawny safely escapes the tower with Floette, and the city is saved. AZ is like, now I can finally live in peace with my Floette. Then he literally dies. Finally, Quasartico Inc. is like, well, since you reached rank A, what is the one wish you want granted? Wrong answer. Nope, not that one either. Sure, we can continue the Zeta A tournament. Introducing Zeta A Infinite. Now you can battle the taxi driver as many times as you'd like. Thank you for saving Lumiose City. Unless this video completely flops, I'm planning on making an extra video on the Donut DLC, so make sure you're subscribed and you have notifications on so you know when I upload. If you have any other games or series they'd like to see me cover, then let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching and hopefully I'll see you next time.